there, guys, and we are in. Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Roger.
We have
Good.
got. So I'm just
Great.
going to introduce everyone. You remember Simon, Mr. Houston from the last podcast. Hope you all enjoyed it. And we've got tailor made for you, Abby Taylor from Stanza Fitness.
Rival.
Rival class.
Rival.
Frenemy, you know. So.
Frenemy.
So,
I'm only friends, so we just know. I know how to attack.
Just enemy. So
Yeah. That's all right.
Keep it all close. It says we're live on Facebook. Hopefully we are. I'm going to keep my feed open as well. So if you guys have any questions, any comments or anything like that, please just fire them our way. We'll be glad to answer them. I want to start by, I've introduced Abby, but I want to start by asking Abby, because Simon and I went through this a little bit last week on our routine currently while in isolation, training wise mainly, but a little bit about day to day. So if you wouldn't mind, actually, scrap that, Abby, if you wouldn't mind starting by kind of introducing yourself. Your clients will obviously know you, but Simon and my clients would like to know a little bit about you, I think. So if you could give us a little history on yourself in the fitness industry, talk a little bit about Stanza Fitness to us, how it all started.
So I've been personal training for 5 years. 5 years. And before, myself, Ben and Carl opened Stanza Fitness just over a year ago now. And before that, all of us were at Fitness First in Bath, and we're training there. And yeah, kind of I got into it because I had a personal trainer a long time ago myself, and that was Carl. So all comes back around.
I didn't know that. I had no
Did
idea.
you not?
No, I've worked there for over a year now, and it's like you guys don't talk to me while I'm there.
Just don't ask the right question.
You just don't go through history. Who needs to know that? You know? So he used to be my trainer a long time ago, and then he planted a seed, and I was like, yeah, this could be fun. And then I got into it and kind of got into it at the kind of bodybuilding angle, and then competed a couple of times for a few years, and that was a long couple of years ago now, and haven't competed since, and probably won't be.
Why is that? Why do you not think you'd do that again?
I'm just my head's not in it.
Okay.
Like, I appreciate I don't know, it's just not for me anymore, which is fine.
It's hard.
It's
hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's consuming. It takes a lot of time and energy and money away from your own business, and you kind of have to be all in it. And I mean, the standard now is just like something else. Yeah. Which is fair enough, but it just gets that point where you kind of have to be like 100% or not at all, I think.
Yeah. So if it's not all consuming you, you won't. I suppose you won't get the result that you want entering it. Yeah. If you're halfway in, your business is effective in your home life, and the competition is affected. So you've got to at some point. Did you enjoy? How many events did you do? I don't think I've ever asked you actually in all our time.
I think in total over the 2 years, maybe 7 shows.
Wow.
Wow,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And like, sorry?
No, go on, please. No, go.
No, I loved it at the time, but I felt like the final year that I competed, the federation that I was competing with went a kind of different direction, and particularly for bikini fitness, which is the category that I competed in, it's so subjective. And it sort of got to the point where I think, that it was all a bit like the judging was maybe a bit questionable and
political a little bit.
Very much so. Yeah, like sort of judges on the panel who also had competitors, and that's all. That's I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
But
that wasn't the sole reason why. I just felt like that was one of the things.
Yeah, cool. Would you mind talking us in a little bit through your process of when you're getting towards, I know it's a big subject, but just a snippet on your process towards sort of show, like calorie wise, training wise, let's say 4 weeks before a show, what was your training routine roughly? And
so I actually had a fairly consistent training program throughout the whole entire 16-week prep, which I think is possibly like not that nothing really changed, but there wasn't a whole lot of variation. There was obviously like deloads within that, but not a lot of it changed, which I don't know, shows. I definitely, even though there was only a year apart between competing, the progress made between years was, I'd say I made quite a significant difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then like leading up, my calories were obviously pretty low. I mean, it was a while ago now, but I think my calories got to like maybe 1,100, something like that.
That's my breakfast.
That's your breakfast, yeah.
But as we know, that's so dependent on so many things, and I can't even remember how much cardio.
What about cardio? Yeah, I was about to say.
It was a lot. I honestly can't remember, but I remember it being a lot. God, and I mean back then, so we're talking like 2017. It was sort of like implementing protocols like water cycling and sodium cycling, which now isn't necessarily like the, I don't know, as
not the same thing anymore.
Probably don't need to do that, if anything. But back then it was all like, that was, well, I say back then, it's kind of like, that was the bodybuilding way,
kind of everyone.
I knew a bodybuilder followed the same prescription from a book that he read in 1978 or something like that, and he just stuck to that same protocol every single year, and it just terrifying. All he did is just immediately go to eat no carbs for 4 days, carbs every fifth day, and just did that until he was at show ready.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like looking back now, it was very bro, and if I was to compete now, that wouldn't be the case. But as we know, research and all of that happens, changes all the time. So we now know that, that approach isn't necessarily going to yield better results. But
cool. So that's a bit about your bodybuilding. What would you call it? Is it bodybuilding?
I mean, I wouldn't like. Physique. I have reservations about calling it bodybuilding because it's like bikini fitness.
Yeah, bikini fitness. Yeah.
And I'd never ever sort of say like, "Oh, well, I'm a bodybuilder," and
But, I don't think that's what you want to introduce yourself to clients as. Hi, I'm Abby. I'm a bodybuilder.
I say to everyone that I'm a bodybuilder if I know that person won't get back to someone I know.
And never will
say, yeah, I'm a bodybuilder. Yeah. Where do you live? Oh yeah, Cambridge. Excellent. I'm a bodybuilder. Cool. That's really good. So guys, if you any of mine and Simon's clients, check out Abby's page. If you could tell us what it is, Abby, on Instagram, Abby _stands_of_fitness. Yeah, and check out the Stands of Fitness page as well. There's a load of really cool stuff on there. I've been working there for about a year. It is a great place to work. I don't know why they suffer
shame about Simon though, isn't it?
I love working there. It's amazing. I've been there for a year and nobody's noticed.
Nobody notices me either. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I have literally created a monster. There's a guy called Tony who I do want to get on at some point, and I did the circle game with everybody. And Tony has just taken it to exponential levels to the point where like everyone's just like, no more. Like, why? Even I'm like, I love the game. I'm like, why did I start this?
But there is no such thing as no more. The game is never over.
Know,
there only is. Yeah, it's never over ever.
I know.
And then one of his clients brought in the peg game. I didn't even know that was a game. But
you heard about that, Simon?
No, I don't know what that is.
So someone has a peg. If you're the peg man, you have the peg, and you have to clip it onto someone without them realizing, and say peg 5 4 3 2 1. If you've said that, then they're the peg man. And we had to create a rule with that. You couldn't put it on someone, because twice I had to put it on me while I was training. So like I was in the middle of doing a tricep pull down. Yes, I do train arms, Abby, before you say anything.
A tricep pull down?
Push down, sorry.
Right,
sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, folks. And then he was like, oh, you're the peg man. I was like, that's not fair. I was, imagine you wouldn't do it to someone in a squat. Do you know
what? Right, hold on a second. But what happens if you were in a squat and I did the circle game?
Yeah, but the circle game, you could just revert your eyes down, and it couldn't, it might not have. It
doesn't matter. A peg is a peg, isn't it? A peg on your back, or you look at somebody's hands. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was just a bit.
The best bit was one of his clients who effectively brought the peg game into the gym, broke the peg a week before we closed. So
on purpose, just crushed it. She was so fed up with it.
Yeah.
But that sort of antic there would just make me happy. That would just make me just excited to get more pegs. I'd have a bag of pegs at the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just keep going.
Yeah, you would. I think and Tony's the same. So like
he'll go to great lengths to win the game.
Yeah, the thing is, he gets you every day because of the amount that he simply does the game. And if everyone who doesn't know, the circle game is that game we used to do at school, and you all just looked. I know you did.
It's above your hip.
Yeah, true. So if you look at it at school,
minus the punching. Aren't you supposed to punch someone?
Yeah, I know, but you can't go around punching people in the gym, can you? But the satisfaction you get from the frustration that they have from looking at that circle.
Have you noticed, there's a pattern as well. When you introduce someone to the game, they all kind of give a...
Yeah. Oh my God, and that's it. They're drawn in.
Yeah, and then they start getting annoyed with you, and Anyway,
But they always try and pull the... Well, I'll look at it anyway. I'm looking at it, and you're like, no, you're not. You looked at it, and now you're just trying to turn the fact that you looked at it, something that you wanted to look at, and I don't care. You looked at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really admire Tony's dedication to the game. It's really admirable.
He's taken it like that. You get on with him, Si, I think. We'll get him on. We'll get him on and chat to him, see what he... I'm still... Anyway, no touching. This is the thing. I think I put a pound in a jar every time I touch my face. Okay, so we rambled on a little bit there, which is fine, but let's move on to another topic. So, Abby, if you could... I'll ask you first, explain a little bit about your daily routine at the moment, now that we're in isolation, from training to everything, really. What do you do? What time do you get up? And,
so for the most part, morning clients have started much later, a couple of hours later than normal. As you both know, it's normally like a 5 a.m. start for clients from 6.
Yeah.
But safe to say, none of my clients have been keen for a 6 a.m. session. Which is fine by me. So I've actually taken the opportunity to get up first thing and go for a walk or a run.
Yeah, cool.
I just find it's really quiet out, and it's just now that it's getting light, it's just the nicest time to go. So I try and do that first thing, and take a coffee with me. So I have a coffee on the go, and then come back. And then whether that's listening to a podcast or whatever, and then come back and start clients from any time between 8 and 9.
Cool.
And then see morning clients, and then afternoon is usually free to either train or do more work or filming content, which God, that takes ages.
Hard work.
Filming decent training videos takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Thankfully, we've got it.
You wouldn't know because you have a Huawei, so...
I know. Are we still going on? Listen, I've got 2 months to go, and then I'm going to get an iPhone.
Simon, surely you must follow up on the atrocious filming. It's
the worst. It's the worst.
Well, every time I get it to Simon's, he offers me here's a little thing for the audio, that little microphone thing, or maybe try that. It's... initially
maybe use my phone instead.
Yeah, and that's what we've done now. What we've done even here. So when I filmed the core workout, and I did it via Zoom because I just knew my phone was terrible. And
didn't it used to be okay, or is it just the Chinese have encrypted it now?
Indoors, in the correct lighting, it's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Still images, you mean?
Yeah.
When it's not filming.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just images. And like, I have to keep it. So even with the pictures, I have to take the picture and then I have to like hold it there. And for like a bit after the picture's taken, otherwise it will be fuzzy. So I have to hold it like perfectly. So it is, yeah, it is terrible. Okay. So mirroring last week, basically, and what we were trying to say to all of you guys is the best way to keep on your training and your nutrition and everything like that is to create a routine. And the reason I wanted to get as many people on the podcast as possible, because as you can see, people like us who enjoy training, fortunately, we're all still working and we want to put content out there for you guys. We've created that routine. So Abby's training every day. She's also going for a run first thing in the morning.
I'm not training every day.
Well, okay. How many days a week?
Slacking.
Let's not lie. I'm not trying to create this like, yeah, I'm training every day. Like,
are you running every day?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I'll retract that.
Are you training at all?
Are you Maybe we'll get someone else on.
Are you even a PT?
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay. How many days a week are you training?
Do with your time if you're not training every day.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I've got kids and I train every hour. You know.
No, I'm running anything between 1 and 3 times a week, and then training about the same, so 1 and 3. Mainly like 2 or 3 is fine, and then 2 or 3 runs, and then that's like absolutely fine.
Okay, so you're like a 4 to 5 day week of doing some sort of exercise, but what's consistent there is your time. Your time, like you said, you do it first thing in the morning. You've got a pretty much a routine going there, and that's what we're basically trying to encourage everybody is not to find a ridiculously strict routine, but just some level of routine. It's the reason why me and Simon talked about last week, why we still get up even if we haven't got the 6 a.m. client.
I love the mornings.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what happens. I just love mornings.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think honest, it's even if you try to have a lie-in, let's be honest, you're so used to getting up at that hour, you'd probably find that your body clock just wakes you up at that time anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just ready. I'm hungry first of all.
Just eating out of bed.
Yeah, I just go awake, breakfast, and then that's it. But I find the mornings are productive. Evenings are not so much. And especially if you get up early before, let's say there's other people in your household, like you, George, you got kids running around, then it just gives you an amount of time to be really productive without people needing you or annoying you.
Man, literally like this morning, like they got up just slightly earlier than they usually do. And I could hear them upstairs and I was just like, oh, just go to bed. And then I just, I hear this inevitable, because Neva shuffles down the stairs on her bum, I heard this inevitable, thump, 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 thump. That's her coming down the stairs. I'm just like, middle of my work.
Yeah. Then she makes me not want to have children.
Yeah, but then she comes in and she's all cute and she's like, and then I give her a cuddle and then it's all forgotten, Yeah, I know. But remember, mate, at that time with Neva as a baby, she was savage. She's really cute now. But well, naughty.
Apart from that one example you give us just then, that she just done a minute ago.
Yeah, but But look, go ahead, Abby. Ask away.
No. I was just saying, leading on from that evening thing. I was speaking to a client yesterday, and we were discussing because she was like, "Oh, we were just talking about snacking in the evening, and how because mentally she decided that she clocks off at 6 o'clock, whether that's just from anything, I don't know, whether it's from training or from work or whatever. And so there was this kind of icky period between 6 and 7:30 before dinner, where she would be sitting down in front of the TV and more likely to snack or things that weren't conducive to her goals.
Yeah.
And
it's a weird time.
Sorry.
It's a weird time when you have nothing to do. It's that's when the mind's like, oh, I could have a snack, I could have that. And if she said she's just shutting down, she's just like, I forgot everything that I was trying to do before.
Absolutely. And so I just said to her, I was like, why have you mentally decided that you clock off at 6 o'clock? And we just had to kind of change the way that the way she thought about clocking off at 6 o'clock, if that makes sense. She kind of just not made it up, but I was like, either don't mentally clock off at 6 o'clock. Try and push it back by half hour, keep doing some work. And then because she'd been sat on the sofa watching TV, her back got really bad. And so I was like, so then take the half hour between, 6 and 7, just do more of your rehab work.
Yeah.
Keep moving, get up off the sofa, do something more conducive to your goal or your body or your health or whatever. And then by that time it's 7 o'clock and you can actually have dinner, and therefore you're still like, you know, she's still trying to reduce body fat, so therefore she's still within her calorie needs, and it's dinner time. And then at dinner time you can switch off and then watch TV.
Yeah, it's like you're just trying to give her like a bit of gap in there, just
Yeah.
give her that extra hour and a half where she's active or doing something or mentally thinking about stuff. Then it just shuts down an hour and a half of possibly eating more and doing more damage.
Just doing things that are unfavorable to whatever it is, whether that's like your body or your mental health or whatever, or go out for a walk, or just, I think it's just change, like whatever routine you once had, it's fine, but I think the routine now is inevitably going to be different, and that's okay. It's just adjusting to that and finding, I mean, I think it's good to keep it as similar as you possibly can, but ultimately it's going to be different. And managing expectations around that as well. I think managing expectations is a really big one.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I think what you've done with your client is really good, because you've addressed two issues there. You've addressed the fact that she wants to continue to lose body fat, which is now being addressed because you're taking away that little window that she has where she was potentially overeating calories, and also the back health thing, which we wanted to talk about a little bit today anyway. And those are two really good tips. You get them to do two things there. So you keep active in that little period of time, helps to burn energy, as we know, but also helps to keep the back healthy. So yeah. So have you got any other clients that are still, you know, wanting to get the goals, you continue with the goals that they were having in the gym, Abby, at the moment?
Yeah. I've got, there are a couple, not many, there are a couple who are still keen to stick to their physique goals, which is primarily losing body fat. There have been others who, for whatever reason, we just kind of agreed, let's just enter a maintenance phase, step away from tracking, all of that kind of stuff, just for various reasons. Like sometimes it's just, there's pros and cons with it all, and everyone's different. So I think that's entirely client and context dependent. But yeah, so in short, a couple, not many, admittedly.
What about you guys? Well, I think that the main thing that most of my guys wanted to do is just keep going. They didn't want to, and I didn't want them to lose the habit. That was key for me. I mean, for various reasons, for their own health and well-being, for the viability of our businesses at the end of all of this, if we come out in 3 months or in 6. So I wanted people to keep up that habit, and the habit is to train 2, 3, whatever times it is a week. So even if the focus has shifted a little bit, then at least they're keeping up pretty much all of them on the same days that they train, pretty much on the same times, with the, you know, exception of the really late or the really early clients. I want the habit to continue. Some of them have, you know, still being good with their nutrition and still trying to, sorry, I say being good, sorry, wrong wording, keeping their calories restricted so that they can continue their weight loss goals. But generally people want to just keep going, to be honest. What about yourself, Simon? What your guys?
I still got half and half. I've got people still crushing for results, because that's the only reason that they're actually PTing. And then I've got people who are, well, it's true, isn't it? Nobody comes to PT just for the crack of it. Like, it's a very expensive bit of crack, isn't it?
Well, have you seen, you know,
what?
I've seen the receding hairline.
Yeah.
Look. It is way better. Those little bits.
That's wispy, man.
Yeah.
Wispy.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Simon, before I...
No, but I do. I have some that are actually still going for some results. I had a client who just had a milestone there on Monday, which is brilliant. And then obviously, just like everybody else, you've got some people who are only in maintenance, and I'm sure most of these clients are going to change, because how long do you want to be in maintenance for? How long do you want to not see progress for? How long do you want to stay in this state? Because it could be 6 months, and a month down the line, they might be like, right, do you know what? I've had enough of sitting around and just carrying on training. Let's see some progress now. So there's a transition going to happen, and a few of my clients are already in that middle of that transition of deciding what their next plan is. Because you know, like us training them, people think that you probably can't do and get results because they're trained at home, but you're moving. As long as you're moving, as long as you're training, as long as you're keeping on top of your food, you can do the exact same. You might not be able to do it as fast, possibly, but that's again situation dependent. But we're in a weird time now. I think going forward, I'm going to be trying to put all my clients on some sort of goal to be reached, whether that's training goal, whether that's a fitness goal, whether that's a fat loss goal. It doesn't matter, because it will bring some sort of focus about the training rather than just being there.
Let the dust settle a little bit, and then carry on. So I'll ask you both this question then. Let's start with you, Abby. Have you yourself got any personal goals while we're in here? Have you in isolation, or have you not thought about that just yet?
Well, initially I was still sort of gunning for this half marathon Spartan race in September, but not entirely sure that's still going to happen. And it's the sort of thing that I actually want to do well at. So if it like I've sort of I've put that on the back burner effectively. But I've more been thinking about, well, what kind of position do I want to be in by the time I can actually get into the gym? And I've also been thinking about working around my back and where I want to be. And like, I really want to be lifting a considerable amount of load for, you know, particularly exercises like my deadlift, which I haven't been able to do. And so it's more about just being more anal with rehab work and keeping certain movement patterns in than like PBing.
Yeah, but that's a really good idea, I think. And actually, you sparked my memory there, because a lot of my clients I'm doing that with, I totally forgot then, is that they were training in the gym and we were managing their back while doing the work. So what I've said to a couple of the guys is, look, we're at home now. We've got limited equipment. Let's focus on getting the back and your core muscles around the back really, really solid. So yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, and I think it's just, again, it's just like, so I'm just got to focus on like other things to prepare for when I'm back in the gym.
Yeah. And
like you say, it's applicable for your clients and quite a few of mine as well. So
yeah, absolutely. What about yourself, Si?
Number one goal, they not eat my cupboards. That's the first, because I buy the food that goes in there, so I'm allowed to have it all whenever I want. But because I'm trying to lose fat, that's not possible. So step one, eat it all first. Which is all done. It's all done.
I saw the Curiously Cinnamons. The cinnamon.
Gone. Gone. They were history a long time ago. I bought them. See, I bought them because like I played a game of like, what calories would I rather have? Would I rather have potatoes, or would I rather have Curiously Cinnamon or something like that? So I can fit calories in there if I just don't eat during the day. But now that I'm home, I'm eating during the day, during the afternoon, during the evening. And Curiously Cinnamon tastes just as good in milk or out of milk. So
oh man, that's so good.
Handfuls of them, and I'm trying to lie to myself that like that didn't count. But that's all just going online. Now I've ate everything. I'm just refusing to buy anything at all that's not eggs, fish, veg. I've got some rice there because I can be trusted around rice. But I've got no metrics though of measure. I've got the body fat calipers here at the house. I've got tape measure, so that's the only metrics of measuring I'm going to be able to do and correlate that back with photos now. So I'm aiming for about 18th of, or maybe 16th of May, maybe, to try and get under 10%.
Like to finish?
Just to get under 10% body fat, and then I'm going to do like a reverse diet then, because like my calories now are about 2.6, and that's low. That's low for
that is low for you, man. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know if I can keep it up. But I just have to be.
How are you feeling?
Huh?
How are you feeling?
I feel grand. I'm like a robot though, really. Like it's just when I'm inside the house, I want to eat everything. I look at bananas and I think I'll eat the whole bunch. But generally, there's no like mood drop. There's no energy drop. I'm just the same as all day. Yesterday, I didn't eat. I had breakfast at 5:30. I didn't eat until 7, accidentally. Well, not accidentally. I made a banging chicken, like chicken soy dish with veg, and then as I turned around, it decided to fall on the floor.
Oh.
So I didn't eat it. So
That's it.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry to hear that.
yeah. Do you know what? I'm not even sorry about the meal. I'm sorry that I bent my pan. I bought a new pan.
We need some new pans, man. Yeah, we need some.
I buy new pans all the time, but this is a wok. I've never had a wok before, and ever since I've been in Thailand to now, I'm basically Thai.
Yeah, I thought you've literally.
I look it, don't I?
That's right.
You've changed, man. Like since you come back from Thailand, you've definitely changed.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched Joker again the other day. Sorry, changing the subject. I watched Joker again. Have you guys watched Joker yet?
So good.
I can't say I have. I'm sorry.
Oh man, there's that. Remember that? Just quickly, really quick. That bit when he's dancing in the front room like that. And he's talking to himself, and he's like,
"Hey, you!
You're an excellent dancer." And then he goes, "I know." My goals. So my goals is I talked to you about the chin-ups last week, Simon. So I'm trying to get 4 sets of 12 chin-ups. Abby,
what did you do this week? Because I think you did something like 12 1 0 0.
12. It was 12 like 2 1 1. This week it was like week before. So I've done 3 weeks of it. Last week it was 12 8 6 6. No, 12 6 6 6. This week it was 12 10 9 7. 12 10 9 7.
Did you get your protein? Did you?
Got my protein.
You better get that.
I got my eggs. My cousin's wife in Australia messaged me being like, George, do you guys spell eggs? And I was like, now I'm starting to wonder. I was like, how many people don't get the reference? You both get the reference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings reference. I wonder how many people. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm trying to make it a thing, but I'm not sure it's working. I think I'm just.
I'll hashtag it for you, George. I'm having it tonight. I'll make sure I hashtag it for you.
I don't know. Sometimes if it doesn't just because obviously I created Get Your Protein and that's obviously trending worldwide. I'm currently signing up sponsorship deals here on Get Your Protein as well. But
what was the one we talked about, Simon, with the burpees?
What was it? It's hashtag stay
burpee free or something.
Yeah, stay burpee free. That's it. That would work. George's one, not so much.
Yeah, well, the eggs is.
Do you ever remember? Did you watch Love Island? The one ago. What was that blonde surfer chick?
Oh yeah, forgot her name. Lucy, was it?
Lucy kept trying to say a word in there that she made up, and she just kept saying it.
Death,
it just wasn't working. Sometimes they just don't work.
I feel like Eggs's isn't working, and I feel like I'm I feel like I'm confusing half of the 20 viewers that watch my stuff, I guess. So.
I think persistence is key. I think keep going with it.
Keep persisting. Yeah, I like it. It makes me laugh, so I'm going to carry on.
Yeah, consistency is. Yeah.
Also, I want with the 12 channel, I also have scrapped the because I was actually cutting before all this successfully as well, but I've decided that I was losing.
Just for everybody else, that might be listening, I was just lying every time I took his body fat measurements. He was getting fatter.
Mate, the linear alba was on its way. What are you talking about? The alba was on its way. The linear alba was coming.
Have you heard this yet about the linear alba?
Yes.
You talk to me about that, right? You haven't witnessed the linear alba because when he actually got lean in the last gym we worked at, every 2 seconds he had his top off. It was literally like watching stars in your eyes. You just turn around, you'd be there being like, yeah, what about the linea alba? And just, you can see it, can't you? You can see it.
Well, when you got it, you got it. You've all seen my mug at Simon's gym. If you haven't, I'll take a snapshot.
You'd be at a point where you just finished training, you'd probably pull your top down, you just pass your nipple line and walk around the gym so your stomach's out. So you'd be like, oh, linea alba.
Yeah, it was exactly that. I think it was after training session with me and Nat, and he just whacked out. I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, the linea alba, just to be clear. Just so we're all, my missus is watching, so
I was like, whoa, that's inappropriate.
Just so so I've decided that building muscle is something that I can really maximize now because I'm sleeping loads.
Come on, George, man, get the linea alba back, man.
Yeah, but once I'm massive and I'm training, because I'm at home, how savage is legs to train at home as well? Because I've got my deck in, right? And I've got no rack, I have to clean the 150 kilograms up to my shoulders and front squat. You look totally.
Yeah, but that's not that hard though. We 10 kilo, is it?
I just said 150 kilos was on the
10 kilo. Yeah, I know, but you moved the decimal point 1.5 kilo.
Yeah. Sorry, that's where I was getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, like, I can't do back squats because I can't overhead press that and put it on my back. And two,
Weak.
I'm not as strong as you guys. and like, if I drop it on the floor, then it breaks my deck. So like, it's like I'm doing really uncomfortable exercises all the time, and it's savage. So what I'm doing is I'm training legs once instead of the 2 or 3 times I usually do, and I'm just training arms loads because everyone takes the piss out of my arms anyway. So I thought, well, if I just train arms, by the time I get back, they'll be like, oh, whoa, what are those? Who's that guy walking in with those arms? Oh, it's George. Oh yeah, he's a tiny pea head with massive arms.
I'll be over a program that I did when I was like 14. It was gain an inch in your arms in one day. I think you have to train every half hour for 8 hours.
Oh, so that's like the Poliquin arm cure.
Yeah.
It
worked. It did work, like, but I think it just worked through pure inflammation and soreness.
Just pain. Cool. So that's our goals, guys. We've got the one viewer that is watching. If you have any questions, fire away. I suspect the rest of you will watch this later on YouTube. So I'm not worried.
I'll be watching it later.
Yeah, exactly. Laughing at our hilarious.
You'll probably be on BBC tomorrow morning. BBC News.
We'll probably be asked to do a 3-way. Not a 3-way. On. Okay, I'm going to move on from there. I just died then. Right, so.
That's almost as bad as the cutouts of the videos that we did in the gym.
Oh yeah, have I told you about this, Simon?
No,
we got to put this edit up. So
you just don't talk to me anymore, George.
We will. Well, we got time, so send me them and we'll do the outtakes.
I can't put outtakes out because I swear that's all I do. As soon as it's over, I'm just like.
Obviously, we're usually like I'm usually like a one take wonder. But I was getting Abby to go in, and there's this thing going around in the gym. Everyone thinks I'm a bit pervy, which I'm not. Obviously, Simon. So I was going right. I was trying to get her to get into the bird dog, and I was thinking, don't say get on all fours because it sounds seedy. So then I was like, okay, Abby's going to get down on her hands and knees.
Which is worse.
Which sounds worse, which I didn't realize.
Worse. It only sounds pervy if you're smirking while you're saying it.
Was I smirking?
No. No, you weren't at all, but it was because it was you.
Okay, that's what I mean.
I just couldn't, I couldn't hold it in, and then, like, in the video, you can see me just like creasing.
Yeah, we'll put it out for everyone.
My dog, I'm just like, so we can't put that up.
So that video is ready to go, but because we haven't refilmed it, we can't put it out there. And the video after that is supposed to follow that one. So, and then the coronavirus happened, so we couldn't film that video. So
I was having a little think about this, George, and I think you should just film the one of the how to manage your back pain and movements outside of the gym on your own. You can do that one on your own.
You should basically. So what you're saying is basically you should just go home and do it.
Yeah.
Not in the gym.
No one wants me to stand up like this anymore. I'm starting to feel some. Yeah.
It'd be wild hard. I don't know how you guys do any filming in a gym.
No.
There is quiet times. I mean, the gym, we tend to do it like in the middle of the day, don't we, when everyone's at work?
And Tony's hard at work at the ski erg. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tony properly ruined our life with that. That was, you put the ski erg on just as we were filming, and all you could hear is like someone vacuuming in the background.
Whoosh,
yeah.
Whoosh.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go on to the next.
What I'm saying, George, is that you're better off without me.
No. Well, I am not, but, I will make do for now. So I'm going to move on to topic because we have been rambling, but I know the people love it, so it's fine. So I was going to talk a little bit. We have spoken a few times about back health. So I'm going to see if I can get you guys to give me one tip each on how to, if you are someone that suffers with back health, we're obviously at home a lot more. Simon, I'll start with you. One tip for the guys at home, how to manage your back health.
Stop sitting down. Nice and simple. Stop sitting down. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're now in a position where we can sit down, not even in office chairs, not even in chairs built for spinal health. Sit down on your sofa. You can watch endless hours of TV. And we all know the sofas are designed to be comfortable, but they are not designed to support your back. And with that, you get muscles getting longer, you get other muscles getting shorter and tighter, and then you get muscles that are switching off or just not recruiting as well. And you're on top of that loading your disc in a really bad way. And it's that classic thing where somebody has, done something really, really mundane and pulled their back, and they're like, oh, I took up that plant pot, really smashed me back in. But really, they've just been sat down for 4 hours and just walked over and lifted the plant pot, and because their disc is hanging out the back of their spine, you know what I mean? It's just ready to pop like a water balloon. So it's just yeah. But just don't sit down, and I mean that honestly, because I don't do it myself. I'm trying not to, and I get up every couple of like 20 minutes is a good length of time in order to just stand up and try and put everything back into place. But that would be my top tip: stop sitting down.
Cool, Abby.
Yeah, similar to that. I think if you've got any exercises that help it, whether it's like, if you've been with a coach and they've got you doing rehab exercises, like now more than ever, you've got, for the most part, for most people, time to do it. So, if you're doing it first thing, if you're doing it last thing, twice a day, I think now's an opportunity to make even more of a habit of it. And the other thing is like, I think a lot of people now are potentially sitting down at a desk because they're doing work from home, or like Simon said, or watching TV, but they're also then still like there's people are doing stuff like going out for runs and maybe doing things that they like training wise or exercise wise they actually haven't done before, or like, and people are doing, or then sitting down at a desk for however many hours a day and then going and doing some not crazy but some high intensity interval circuit and then running. And like, if you don't know, if you've got back injuries, or if you've been sat down at a desk all day, then going to like do something that's really high intense or high impact is really not going to be the best thing to do.
Yeah, it raises your risks, doesn't it? It does massively raise your risk of injury.
Yeah, because people sort of go, oh, well, I've been sat down at my desk all day, I really need to sweat and I really need to like go for it.
People have this like affinity with trying to just kill themselves, I think, and that's what
absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's not always the most productive approach. So I think, researching what exercises you should be doing, or if you've got exercises that you should be doing, to do them more regularly. I don't know about you guys, but I've been sat at a desk more than ever. And I've got one of these, like, this is like a proper, it's got my dressing gown on it, but this is like a proper fancy one. And I tell you right now, like, I feel like dog shit. Excuse my French. I feel awful. And like, even after 2 hours, if I've done 2 clients back to back, it does not feel good.
I stand. I put my clients on because I use your laptops, I imagine, don't you?
I use my laptop,
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I use my phone. I put my phone on a phone stand so it's head height. So I stand during the sessions because my movements are still stays up, so my steps still count. But also, I'm just not. Otherwise, it could be 4 hours where you're sat slumped over.
That's exactly it. You do 4 clients back to back, which you would do potentially in the gym 3 or 4.
That's it. But
then there's like time either side, like catching up or, setting up the technology or whatever, and then you've sat down for plus 4 hours, and it's like,
I think a few of the things that I'm doing while I'm taking my guy, a lot of my guys are back rehab purposes anyway. So what I've been doing, I'm sat here like this when I initially talk to them, and then I pop the laptop on the floor and I set up my mat there, and I actually do the exercises with them, because like you, Abby, my back started to hurt, and it started to hurt. Do you remember, Si, when Isla was really young and I came back from that holiday where I was sat down loads and I was holding her and walking, my back was hurting after that. That started happening again, and it's due to inactivity. It really, really was. So since I started doing the exercises with the guys, it's been better. I have, I should actually send it to you guys. I have actually got a core workout for people with back health that I've put out there. It's only available with the link. So I've given it to all my clients, and I've forgotten you. Please email me because it wasn't intentional. But I'll send you guys the link. If you want to fire it away to any of your clients, then feel free. It's about 40 minutes long, but only because I'm explaining so much stuff. Actually, when you get to the belly of it, and once you learn it, it should take you about 20 minutes to do. So I'll send that over to you guys. Any one of Abby and Simon's clients will get that once I've sent them the link. And can
I just on top of that, go on, just when we were talking about sitting down and what Abby was saying as well about, going out and doing ballistic workouts and stuff after you've been sat for prolonged periods of time. That's such an important piece of information there, really, because how many people sit down their job and then drive to us and then come into the gym and then they have to train with us. You have to be so on point with what you're trying to do with that person in the warm-up phase of a workout, in order to get them to do something like a back squat or a deadlift or so on. Because when you're sat down, nobody sits down with a perfect back. I can't. I try it, but I just don't do it for long enough. And it's okay to sit down and load your back in the wrong way, but you have to do something about getting everything back and activated and set in the right place before you go and start lifting, because tissues get longer, your disc travels to the back, the muscles shut down. So you're going in essentially and lifting something where you're neurologically not functioning properly. So it means your muscles are not contracting in the proper way. Your discs are all over the place. And then the tissues that connect your vertebrae are all stretched and lengthened. Yeah. So it's so important. Even in terms of what I have some clients do is I get them to brace and sit tall before they get to me. And that's just sitting up, tensing up your core, making sure you're in the right place, because as much as they can do before they come into me is makes their session even more efficient.
That traction exercise you told me about when you came back from Joel's was has massively helped a lot of people, actually. And do you want to just tell the guys about that as well, because that's helped.
I mean, I knew you went to go see him, but
Go ahead,
well, the traction exercise. So basically what I was saying before, so if you're sat down loading, there's obviously gravity squashing your discs together, but if your discs work, like I always like to go for the ice cream and the wafer. You remember that? The old school block ice cream, and you bite down one side and it pour out the back. And that's kind of what's happening. So as you sit down slumped, you're squishing down one edge and pushing the disc out the back, and everything that's inside the disc starts migrating to the back posteriorly. So when you do traction, you stand up, you push your hands all the way to the ceiling, and you try and lift your rib cage up off your pelvis and keep that position, and then take 3 deep breaths. So what you're doing is it's an easy way to give space in between your discs. You activate all the extensors in your back, so your upper back, your lower back, your core, your external rotators, and your shoulders. And then the disc can move back into the center. And then as you take it back down, you're in a much better position. You've activated all the ones that have been sleeping. You've now put everything back into its original place, and then you can carry on about your life.
That's a great bit of advice, I think, because if anyone's watching here now and that's you spend a lot of the day at your desk and then you go straight out to do some exercise like Abby was talking about, I would encourage you to do something like that, because that will really limit your risk of injury. Can I just quickly say hello to Natalie, who's commented? Thanks, Natalie. She said, "Thank you for entertaining me." You're Natalie, Abby. Thank you for entertaining me.
Of course, I knew it would be. She's like the only one watching.
Yeah, I know. No, we got my man Brendan, school friend Brendan, and my school friend Sean. So, all right, lads, how you doing?
They're on here just laughing at you.
Yeah, one of them's ducked out actually. Well, just as I was saying. So
clearly, we weren't engaged. I was going to say also is like first thing when people wake up as well.
Yeah,
that's a vulnerable time, and I think that's like the time when people either go straight away into their desk, or potentially with this whole like there's a lot of like wake up with, and I know we're doing wake up with stanza yoga, but there's a lot of like wake up exercise or high intensity exercise, and it's just that time of day is such a vulnerable time when you're back.
It's such a weird situation. I always find is that like everybody gets up and starts, like, I don't know about you guys, start banging out all these stretches, and the older generation are worse at it because they get fed misinformation almost, and they don't research it as well as the younger generation. And that's not everybody. But when you're sleeping, gravity's just not working on your spine, so your spine's just getting longer. All the discs are just separating longer, so you got this thing moving in and around your vertebrae. It's got no support, and then you start bending over and touching your toes and all this stuff. Like just when your body's like, no.
I'm ready for that. Yeah.
But that's why you have a cup of tea. Get a cup of tea in the morning. Finish your tea or coffee.
Do your rehab exercises. Do your big three.
Do your big three. Yeah. Is it tea in the morning for you guys, or is it coffee?
Tea.
Oh, coffee.
Coffee in the morning. So I go tea first with the eggs, because tea and eggs, man.
Tea
and eggs.
Maybe I need to change up my routine, because my mum goes to tea as well, and I'm always looking at her like, am I missing something?
Yeah, man, you are. Tea and eggs. So you get the bread, if you're having bread, you dip it in the yolk, you take a bite, then you put the tea in. It is an absolute dream.
Eggs and coffee doesn't work. It's not the same.
No, I can imagine that.
No. But like eggs and tea, followed by about 20 minutes, then coffee.
I was going to say, when does the coffee come in?
Pretty quick, man.
I do like 17 cups of tea.
Yeah, you actually do. That's not an exaggeration.
No, I do like 7. So today I've had 5, and that's me going easy. And then I have one coffee.
Yeah.
Do you you count your calories in your tea?
Of course I do. It's 50 calories a cup of tea.
If you're not getting results or something.
Yeah, I know, but like, what do? Do I sacrifice everything and just not have tea? Is what I was raised on. We didn't get milk in Ireland. We got tea.
Yeah, we got rocks in Iraq. Just like, here you go, play with that. I want a toy. No, rocks. It's fine.
Yeah, rocks. Tea all day.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think. Do you put sugar in your tea?
No.
I used to have 5.
I do. One
sweet
sugar.
enough, George.
I'm not sweet enough, mate. I'm really
not.
Man.
No. I honestly did any's. I don't know when you were younger, but I used to put so much sugar in my tea on purpose that it wouldn't dissolve at the bottom. I'd drink the tea and just hold the cup like that until the sugar came down.
Yeah, I used to do stuff like
Amazing.
that. I tell you what.
The general transition from like introduction of tea, shitloads of sugar, and then it was just like, as you get older, it's just like slowly weaning you off sugar.
Yeah. It's just a way of slow.
With alcohol, you start off with like Wickeds, like WKD, and then you like your palate matures and shit, and then it's like
eventually, like loads of people just end up with Guinness. It's just like WKD, Guinness. That's the line. There's loads of in between shots and stuff. Did any of you used to do this? So I used to get like Weetabix, put the milk on, loads of sugar on each Weetabix, and then loads in the milk, so that afterwards I could like scoop up. But then like it would dissolve and become like less sugary, and then I'd put more on.
Of course, I used to do it with cereal, just like cornflakes. So you put sugar in, mix it in, more sugar on the top, eat the top layer, more sugar in. Eat it again, scoop to the bottom, get the sugar.
It was more like a trifle.
Yeah.
This is onions.
This is what we used to be like. This is what we used to be like. It's a fitness podcast. We're much better now.
Do you know what? I'll tell you what. When I actually stopped putting sugar in my tea when it was when I did my PT course at 18, because obviously then the nutrition, I think the nutrition lasted about 2 days on that course, and it was basically don't eat white rice, white pasta, white bread, and sugar's the devil. And I was like, sugar. I suppose I have 3 of them in my tea. And then I went down to 2, and then 1, and then none. Yeah. But it took a long time.
I prefer tea without sugar if there's no milk. Do you know what I mean? So I prefer, if I don't have sugar.
Literally
in my tea,
the opposite.
Yeah, I'd need no milk. I just need the flavor of the tea. Whereas tea and milk and sugar is a dream. So I have to have one, man. I can't take that away.
Can't say I've ever tried that.
Yeah, it takes. Like,
why would you?
It is nice. It is nice.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm down to my last one.
Do you know what? I don't mind them. But I always get fear that I'll end up like Donald Trump if I drink any aspartame.
Yeah. Okay.
You will.
Yeah, you will. You will be
China.
Right. So, my tip. Did I do my tip on the back?
You kind of did, but didn't. You may as well go now, like, because ours were so good.
Yours are so good. I think.
I was waiting on the edge of my seat for yours.
I think you kind of both slightly took my points, but
you can't say that. There's more than 3 points.
I can't remember what your points were. So yours was
brilliant
move.
Podcast host.
Yours was your exercises, and mine was actually mine was going to be when you take this time to, when you do your workouts, focusing on your technique. We talked about this last week. We talked about squat jumps, burpees, how those are quite ballistic moves and how we adapt them. How often do we see people in the gym picking up a weight, squatting down with a massively curved back, or deadlifting or whatever? Now's the time where we haven't got that excessive amount of load available in our gyms, and it only becomes excessive if you do it wrong, where we can really focus on the technique of a move like a squat, a deadlift, split squat, even stuff like overhead pressing, where if the load is too heavy, your back moves in the wrong position, usually into hyperextension. So think about the moves that you're doing, do a little bit of research on them, get in contact with us if you want to, and we can help point you through the correct technique, correct movement patterns, so that, again, prepping yourself so when you get back into the gym, you're in a better place, your core's stronger, your back's stronger, you're moving better. So that would be my tip, is pick sensible exercises, do them correctly, and believe me, we all know this, guys, don't we? Believe me, if you do an exercise properly, if you do a squat properly in the correct form, you don't need that much weight, and it's hard. Okay, so
yeah, I think that's what I think, Simon, you mentioned something last week about something you're implementing a lot with clients is like tempo work and time under tension and things like that.
Yeah, I think tempo.
Even more so, like, that requires obviously perfect form. I mean, everything should anyway, but yeah, you can make it pretty difficult. But I think people think that you need to just
smash.
Yeah.
But the thing is we don't.
This is a good excuse for it to go totally the opposite way.
Yeah. But how many times do we go in the gym and vomit? Like, I don't go into the gym to vomit and throw up and kill myself. Like, I go in there to gain something from it. So people just get this misconception about like training. They think that you should be in there nailing yourself to the wall all the time. And but even that, going back on what I was saying with the tempo training is terrible. It's real hard. Like, if you do 8 reps on a squat on a 4:10 tempo, that's hard.
Yeah. If you pick the right, weight, if you're moving correctly, it's savage. And it's like I said, I've been really enjoying programming for people, because my worry was going online, would I be able to offer them as effective a session with the limited equipment and everything that they've got. And actually, everyone has said that they found the workouts challenging, and they feel it the next day, and it feels like a workout, not just plugging the gap while we're not in the gym. So yeah, I think it's those are the important points, I think.
Tell me this though, George, what if you were to pick one exercise that's your go-to for somebody who's got back pain currently, and it's flared up? Like, let's say a flare up, so somebody's just gone, oh, I can't move, and then they walk around like their chest held up high and they're stiff everywhere. What would be your number one exercise to try and reduce the pain, make life a lot easier, make them move through the day a lot better?
Yeah, so obviously we won't talk about how much it depends on the individual and everything. Like, if I had a broad, if I just
like a ballpark.
Yeah. So I won't say it depends.
Disclaimer.
I know. I always find that the bird dog exercise has the most beneficial effect on anybody who has back pain.
But it's also done wrong frequently.
Yeah, which is also done wrong frequently. Thank you. Done how we recommend. And actually, initially, what I get people to do if they've had that moment where they can't move is I get them to do it one limb at a time. I get them to do just the arm, just the other arm, just the leg, just rather than opposite arm to leg. I would lean towards that because I've just found that regardless on what caused the back pain, whether it's an extension issue, a flexion issue, a rotation issue, that seems to be the one that pretty much works okay for everybody.
On some level anyway, at least at some level, if you lift the hand off or you lift the leg off or you do both of them, but
Yeah.
I
And
think if they've got like if they've got shoulder issues or whatever, like George, I saw you, one of your older clients, you can do it. Like you can do it on the chair.
yeah.
You can do,
Yeah. So what I got her to do,
really
because
well.
with her, she had a that would work with someone with a shoulder and a knee issue. Her issue was actually that she's had 2 knee ops and she can't actually kneel down.
Yeah.
So I had to do it. So I put the bench on an incline. You can do it on the side of a chair if you're at home, and do the same exercise basically. And it's much lower threshold, but it activates all those thoracic extensors, the lats, and the glute and hamstring on the side. That's if done properly, of course. I will add to that maybe like a breathing exercise where someone just sits up and just tries to breathe through their diaphragm a little more. So take a big...
Is that for breathing purposes, or is that for like a momentary bit of traction, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's more for muscle activation than just for it's not for I'm not doing it for the relaxation purposes. I'm doing it to try and get their core to engage. So we all know the diaphragm plays a role in core activity, and when someone's at that sensitive point, I found that just either lying them on their back or just sat up, if they're sensitive though, lying down might be better, and just get them to breathe in through their diaphragm and out, and it just wakes up the core. And I get them to do that just before the bird dog. What about yourself on that point, Si? Would you agree, bird dog?
I go, so like I would have 2 really. I reckon I would go 2, but bird dog's definitely in there because it, from an exercise point of view, it keeps the spine in a really safe position, and then it teaches the body to move the limbs around the core. Because that half the problem is when your back goes into spasm, everything locks down, glutes lock down, hips lock down, your upper back locks down. So moving, if you've seen somebody with back pain, their steps are really short. They don't like to stride that long. So it just means that every time they're doing any movement, they're twisting and torquing their spine, and this shuts it down. It teaches their back to relax the muscles. It teaches them that it's okay to move your limbs. And it can be done multiple times per day, throughout the day. And then on top of that, I'd throw the cat camel in there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'd throw it in there. Just because it's just moving the vertebrae, and you can go into big ranges, small ranges, whatever, but it's just really nice, and them 2 complement each other really well. I use it if I ever tweak mine, although mine's is only ever muscular, it still feels brilliant.
I would agree there. And I think that was a really good point with the cat camel, guys. Some people go into the cat camel and create the biggest range of movement. They feel a bit of pain as they do it and go, that's not for me. Shorten the range of movement, like Simon was saying, and you might find that it becomes beneficial. Abby, what about yourself? Would you agree on those points?
Yeah, I definitely agree on those. And I think like we all know, but maybe it just needs to be, it's just to try and keep things moving. So like once you've done those, just try it, introduce the walking.
Yeah.
And like keep your arms and keep that. So you're trying to keep, so as you stride, you
swing,
your arms as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And maybe introduce some of that, like the breath work as you're walking. So just keeping I think because the temptation can be like, I just need to sit still or whatever, or you can't, but you have to
rest.
Yeah, it's the age-old advice, isn't it, from doctors? Is you're gonna have to lie still and not do anything. And actually, it's dated now.
Adding those and then just walking with good technique.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's so true. Walking's so good. It's really good for your back. You'd often notice that people will say all day they've been fine, and then they go home and sit down, and then their back's killing them or something. And the chances are their position when they're sitting down is not great for their back. Seat's too low, whatever. But when you're moving around, there's always less pain felt.
Yeah. I will add as well to everybody, here's another little tip. Often we know as individuals, if we have ever had a bad back, usually we know the type of movements that it doesn't like. Okay, unless you've got chronic back pain at that point, where everything's hurting it. As it starts to get better, you'll start to realize, oh, it's bending down that gets me. It's rotating when I pick something out of a car that gets me. You've got to avoid those movements. Right, or amend them in some way. Okay, it's like, and Dr. McGill would speak about it like scratching a scab. If you continue to scratch a scab off, that scab's never going to heal. If you continue to create the same movements that's causing your back to be in pain, it's going to stay in pain, and it's as simple as that.
Right.
So that's another tip. If you figure out the type of moves that hurt your back, avoid
halfway
them
there.
or change them. Yeah, you are halfway there. Yeah, absolutely.
I think and we went over this when we were doing the videos. It's like some of the points we're making just sound so boring.
Yeah. And
like avoid the things that make it painful, and walk and do, and it's like it sounds very basic.
Yeah.
There's still stuff that people just assume, like it's like you get clients that are like, oh, my back's really hurting, and then you run through and you're like, okay, what did you do when you were doing this? And then once you make your clients aware of the movements that they're doing outside of the gym, you're like, oh well, yeah, I picked my dog up out of the car, and like a 40-kilo dog. You're there. One of my clients was saying that she did that the other day. It was like, well, then if you think about you're holding your dog away from your body and it already weighs 40 kilos, think of how much you're adding, and then you're twisting to lift your dog out. And it's just like, there are certain things that once you make them aware of the movements that are really not helping or that seem obvious or that are just day-to-day things or just habitual, like just day-to-day movements they don't even think about. Once you make them aware of that, then they're like, oh yeah, wow, okay.
Absolutely. When they become, the thing is, the reason they don't realize them is because they are so habitual, right? And what we're trying to do is get people to think about their daily habits, and you know, and then
it's the daily habits that led you down the path of having back pain. It's the stuff that you do the most often that's led you down to having a bad back. You know, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think people always dismiss back pain as well. Like oh, I'm just back's a bit sore.
Yeah, I can't feel my foot. It's all right.
Yeah, they're like, it's wear and tear, you know. Yeah, and the dog. So many people say that. It's
wear and tear.
It's my age, or it's hereditary. That's the one that it's hereditary. Yeah, and the classic hereditary one, you know. But some of it is hereditary if you're born with like a disc, a spine that's twisted.
Scoliosis or something.
Scoliosis or something. So if you're listening, please don't take offense.
It's very similar. It's very similar to hair loss. That's hereditary. That's fine.
Actually hereditary. I think it's well, at least I get to get a haircut by a proper hairdresser.
George,
in fairness.
it's looking better.
It is looking better. Like I said, I feel just
you feel fantastic.
Chill, man. I feel
but
so
if
chill.
you feel great, then that is all that matters.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue I'm having is every week this goes by, I don't want to go back to work.
I like it. I like work. I like the structure. Exactly. I like getting in there. I like being in a place where I have to work. It's
Don't get me wrong, you know I like it, but I'm also being like, hey, I can get up 5 minutes before my client. If I wanted to, I won't.
I know.
But I'm just saying I could. You know.
Well, like you can just have lunch like whenever you want. And like as kind of it's just
no cold food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No cold food.
No cold
food.
Yeah.
No Tupperware.
No Tupperware.
Yeah, this is
it's our life.
Yeah.
No, but it's there are pros and there are cons, I think.
Yeah.
I like people do. I like the face to face. I like the interaction. I like to have a bit of a joke and a laugh at them. And there's stuff that you can do when you're with somebody and be stupid and so on that you can't quite get on the FaceTimes or the Zooms or whatever. It's still good, but you know what I mean? I like all the little bits that come in between it.
Yeah, I mean I've go ahead, Abby.
Well, I was just gonna say, how are you guys managing time? Because I find like I give my clients the hour, but I've had to allow for like 10 minutes either side, for mainly just catching up, because what I've experienced is that for most clients there, and mainly me, I say my clients, it's actually mainly me, that I'm like, it's very nice to talk to someone else.
Yeah.
Or they're like, they've obviously only been with the person they live with or on their own. And for them, it's like
catch up time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm different because I could literally not talk to anyone for years and be cool. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I like the people that I like, and I like everyone really, but like, you know, I'm pretty antisocial. Simon will tell you if you're out of the circle. So just be aware, everyone watching, you're in my circle. It's great, but
I know that when I WhatsApp you out of hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
haven't reached that friendship level yet.
I mean, we are friends, man. Like I would do that to my mum. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I mean, I've been managing pretty well. I've been taking it to the hour simply because it's taking me a lot longer to explain the exercise, because I really want them to do it correctly. I'm having to demonstrate it a lot more because I can't be hands-on like I usually am in the gym. Managing my time fine though. I think the sessions would be 50 minutes had I not spent so much time explaining in between.
Yeah. Not spend 50 minutes being like,
have I? Yeah, I'm definitely getting better at not looking at myself while on Skype as well now. Like, because we all do it. No, don't lie about it.
I don't do it.
I
never did it.
Yeah, but I've got better now, not just being like, because you can see it. I'm looking at you two now. Now I'm looking at me. Do you know what I mean? You can see when the eyes divert to the little corner of the room where you're at. What about yourself, Simon? You all right with time, managing time?
Flying, man. I'm still, like I said, I'm still getting up at 5:30, so I've got loads of time. I don't have any travel time, so that's like an extra half hour, and I'm going out for a walk in that time to try and get myself into like a work mode. As soon as 7 hits in, I'm just working.
Yeah, that's good, man.
But the clients are good. The sessions are good, and obviously, unlike you, I teach my clients proper technique before we had to do online training, so the explanation stuff doesn't take as long. Because of that.
I would say it's because I'm a little bit more thorough, like in every one of my sessions. You know, once I've taught them, I don't rest on my laurels. I go, no, I'll teach them again, because that's what they're here for.
Sheila Taylor's been very happy with her sessions, so
that's good. I'm still training Sheila on online. Yeah.
You say not to call her Sheila though?
Not to call her Sheila. Yeah, that's not a thing to do.
Yeah, I know, but George, that's all I want to do when I see her. That's all I want to do.
At your own peril.
I don't care about that. Like I'm fully up for forfeiting pain for that little slice of pleasure. Like.
Yeah, I think like, again, I don't know how you do this. If anyone's going to get away with it, it's going to be you. I don't know how there's some of the stuff you get away with. I think I'd be arrested. You know, like, you know.
It's because I got an Irish accent. As soon as you say it in my accent, people are all like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing."
They look at me. Already when they look at me, they're like, "That nose looks a bit Arab. He looks a bit shifty."
Yeah.
and then they're all like, then I say something like, I'm going to call the, we got to tell you guys this story, right? So I'm Iraqi, just for everybody. And when Simon first started working at Team Breakthrough, I just assumed he knew I was Middle Eastern. So I was cracking all these Middle Eastern style jokes. Real
racist jokes in my eyes. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, let's not say them because we are live on Facebook.
You didn't realize.
So I was cracking these jokes, and Simon was just like, eventually, what did you see? He had to come up to me and actually.
No, because like, what was happening is, he was just, there was all these jokes about bombs and Middle Eastern and, all this stuff with Iraq, and I was just like feeling uncomfortable for a while. And you're giving it all that.
Yeah.
And then there's one day then I just had to stop him. I was like, George, do you just hate people in the Middle East? Like, what is it? Do you hate Arabs and Muslims and all? And he's like, nah. And I was like, well, what is it? And he's like, I'm from Iraq. I was like,
It's like
so it's okay then.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing to do with me. I just felt like, what the hell? I just was uncomfortable to start thinking it's a bit close to the bone. It doesn't like that much of a joke, really. And then he's like, no, it's cool. It's just I'm from Iraq. And I was like,
Yeah, for a while I used to eat, and I would enjoy the fact knowing that he was walking away, and I could tell by his face that he didn't realize I was from there. I was going, this is good. He thinks I'm terrible. But I spent the best part of a year, I think, when I first started working at Team Breakthrough. The coach there, Dan Cousins, who worked there at the time, just continued to think I was Italian, and I was talking to him about stuff, and he'd be like, maybe Mediterraneans react a bit differently to this, and I was just like, I'm just going to let him ride with this. One of my mates' grandma, when I was a kid, my name's George Yule. I was about 14 and I was staying around his house, and his grandma comes in and goes, "Hey, Giorgio." And I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" I think in my head they're just saying my surname wrong. And then they just started talking to me for 20 minutes about Rome and like how they've been to Rome loads of times. And I was just nodding, obviously realizing that they didn't realize I was not Italian. But you know, when you're just like, I can't say anything now. You know, I've just got to ride with
too long.
this. Yeah, it's just too. Yeah,
it's gone too long.
Yeah, it's gone too far.
It happens to me all the time when I come back from holidays. Everybody always thinks that I'm Will Smith.
Yeah, because you come back so tanned. Yeah,
it's just so, and obviously with the dance moves and so on.
Yeah.
It always happens.
Yeah, I nearly said something, but we're on Facebook, so I won't.
But getting back on the topic here, because George, you're just a nightmare, honestly. But I actually want to ask Abby a question, because it's an interest that I have and I read about it, and there's always like seminars on it and so on. But do you think there's a difference between training females and males?
Do I think?
Do you know? Do you know if you're a woman? So do you know? Is there secrets out there that we don't know?
Secrets, all the secrets.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think so. It's one of those ones where I'm like, it depends.
Do you want me to give you an example? Do you know what I think?
Yeah. Give me
Men are better.
Actually.
Men are better. Full stop.
Men are just better. That's
No,
I'm joking. I actually think that women handle volume way better than men.
So like, I think that for the most part is I say like most people know, but obviously most people don't know. That's not a thing. I think yes, in terms of like volume. So potentially at the moment, females could probably, I don't know, benefit from the sort of training that is having to be implemented at the moment, because like high volume
just seem to recover so much better. If I give somebody 10 sets of 10
higher intensity and things like that, I think that they seem to be fine with. But then honestly, like the majority of my clients are female. Like I've only got like 2 or 3 males.
I would say the same, actually. I'd say the majority of my clients are females as well.
But I think their performance is also dictated largely by like time, like cycle wise, like where they are there. Definitely. I see that a lot.
I do think, honestly, like it baffles me sometimes, the rest periods I give women, the volume I give them sometimes. It's stuff that I wouldn't even give a man. You know, like just because I'm like, they can't handle that. They won't be able to do that amount of volume.
Could you imagine what we'd be like if we did that? We'd be dead. Like I go anything over 2 reps and I'm finished. Do you know what I mean? It's.
I think also, I think maybe it's like I don't know how to. It's like, I think for the most part, a lot of the time, females will come to a coach for a goal that involves like toning or that involves reducing body fat, or that's mainly, and I think there's an assumption that that involves doing a lot of workouts that induce sweat or a higher heart rate for a consistent amount of time, and men traditionally want to shift a lot of weight or ego stroking, or like, I don't know, generalization, but I think that's, I don't know what tends to happen quite a bit. So it
tends to happen. Men are driven by like load and how much it can lift. There's just that masculine feeling of we're amazing that seems to be driven. But I think
women are more conditioned to believe that
it's almost like in my book, it's almost like one should take a leaf out of the other's book and vice versa.
Always.
Yeah, for sure.
Because women sometimes I find they don't like that big, hard, heavy rep. You know, the rep where you're like, I don't know if I can get that. I don't know about that. And they're saying, I don't have any more reps left. When if you wanted, you can get 10 more reps in there. Facts, there's some of the stuff.
Also, there's a tendency for women to assume that they cannot lift as much as they can.
Yeah.
Men, it's the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Dealing with like individuals' own self-belief or limiting self-belief or whatever. I think for the most part, women, you don't tell your client that they're going in for, I don't know, their top set. You don't tell them what weight it is, but you're like, right, we're gonna hit 3 reps, and they're like, okay, and they go at it, and they're like, shit, and they do it, and then afterwards you tell them what weight that was, and they're like, oh my god, couldn't believe that.
Yeah, but if you'd have told them beforehand, they may not have lifted it because they'd have beaten themselves already. That's
yeah, but I think a lot of women are often surprised by their own strength, or where
women are strong. I honestly find they're strong. Like,
yeah. But I think with men, they're like, it's a different approach.
You have to tail people back, rather, because men will quite happily just be like, oh yeah, well, I only lifted 3 last week and I should have got 6, but I'm ready to go up weight.
Yeah. That's me. Yeah, put the weight up anyway. Yeah, just did you get the reps? No, but I feel stronger today.
It's a new week. Yeah. Did you get your protein?
Yeah. Did get
new hairline. So
yeah. Whoa! Like there's knives that I'm getting from you two. You know, is
bring it on yourself.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to have to conclude there because in 20 minutes I've got a client. But thank you both.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Abby. I'll be posting some snippets of all this over the next coming weeks. Next week,
if you're really dedicated, watch the whole thing.
If you're really dedicated, watch the whole thing. It was longer. Yeah. It was about an hour. It's about 40 minutes longer than my prep time was. But
about 40 minutes of talk about receding hairlines.
Yeah, I know. But thanks for coming on, Abby. We'll do it again.
Thank
hopefully.
you for having me, George.
My pleasure. Next week, Simon, we are doing a themed background, please.
Huh?
Themed background.
Oh, nice.
So the theme is where you ideally would want to get married. You get to choose the next theme. I get to choose this. Theme. I know you don't want to get married, but let's hypotheticals here.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Don't tell me. I want it to be a surprise. So.
In the fires of Mordor.
Yeah. Just tell me. I've already chosen mine. You get to choose next.
What? Where did you get this theme from? Like, where did you think? Oh, do you know what? I'm going to spice the show up next week, and I'm going to talk about themes of where would you like to get married?
I was gonna message you guys about it today, and then I realised it was 2:00.
How do we do a background?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm giving you a week to figure it out, mate.
You can set it up on here. What me and my friends have been doing with our meetings or quiz nights is provide your own headwear.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Which has been quite entertaining.
We can do that the week after then.
Yeah.
We can do that the week after.
Own headwear?
Yeah, well, you have to do the next theme.
But so, you could improvise. I mean, one of my friends brought a cycling helmet,
Yeah.
It's very broad.
I could wear a mankini upside down.
You could.
There you go.
It'd be like a mask.
Yeah, and we need those. We need those. So, yeah.
Yeah, we do need those face masks.
Yeah. So
just wear a new one, not a used one.
Yeah. It's got to be cleaned if it was used, at least. Okay. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Hope the people enjoyed it. The no more than 2 at a time that popped in. Carl was in for a bit, but he's definitely gone now. We have to get Carl on at some point. He doesn't seem keen, but
the Italian.
Yeah.
The real Italian.
The real Italian. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You don't want to. Yeah. You definitely wouldn't, would you? But yeah.
Carl.
Yeah, Coral. He sounds a bit like Wayne. Well, let's not talk. Yes.
They're great.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Simon.
Pleasure.
See you guys next week. Don't forget about the theme, Simon.
Yeah.
Guys at home, I will be making my video for the core workout available again. We talked a lot about back health in this workout. That video is going to be available once more. If you haven't got it, just text me. I will email the link to these guys, and they'll throw it over to all their clients as well. So take those tips on board we talked about back health, and stay safe. And let's bring some positive vibes towards the Prime Minister and everyone else who's suffering with coronavirus right now. Okay, so I can be serious, and I love you all. And thank you. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.